Most people believe that the biggest risk after age 60 is gaining fat. But researchers are discovering something far more dangerous. Some people are not just gaining fat. They are losing muscle at the same time. And this silent combination has been linked to loss of mobility, physical disability, and accelerated aging. The most alarming part? It could be happening inside your body right now without you even realizing it. Over the next few minutes, you'll understand what this phenomenon is, why it escapes traditional measurements like the scale and BMI, and what science says you can do about it. There is a term that many physicians still don't routinely use in clinical practice, but it is growing rapidly throughout some of the most respected scientific publications in the world. That term is sarcopenic obesity. And it describes exactly this combination, excess body fat coexisting with loss of muscle mass and loss of muscle function at the same time. In 2022, an international group of experts from Europe's leading clinical nutrition and obesity organizations came together to establish, for the first time, a consensus definition and diagnostic criteria for this condition. It was a major milestone. Because until then, medicine largely treated fat and muscle as separate problems. The consensus showed that, in many cases, they are two sides of the same coin. And the problem is getting bigger. Reviews published in Nature Reviews Endocrinology show that as the global population ages and obesity rates continue to rise, sarcopenic obesity is becoming one of the major clinical challenges of the coming decades. But wait. If you're overweight, how could you not know you're losing muscle? That's exactly the trap. As you age and gain fat, the number on the scale may increase. But when you're losing muscle at the same time, the two changes partially offset one another. The scale may even show a stable weight. Your BMI may appear normal. And from the outside, you may not look very different from before. Inside, however, your body composition has changed dramatically. Less muscle. More fat. And most importantly, more fat infiltrating tissues that should be primarily muscular. That is the core of the problem. It's not just how much you weigh. It's what your weight is made of. Now comes the part that really matters. Why is this combination so dangerous? Muscle isn't just about appearance. That's right. Muscle is function. It's what allows you to climb a flight of stairs without becoming breathless, get up from the floor without assistance, carry groceries, and maintain your balance. When you lose muscle, you lose independence. At the same time, excess body fat, especially visceral fat that accumulates around internal organs, continuously releases inflammatory substances. This chronic low-grade inflammation directly interferes with the muscle's ability to recover and grow. It's a vicious cycle. Fat sabotages muscle. Loss of muscle lowers resting calorie expenditure. That makes it even easier to accumulate more fat. And the cycle continues. Research published in Nature Reviews Endocrinology describes how this process involves a complex interaction between muscle tissue, adipose tissue, age-related hormonal changes, oxidative stress, and systemic inflammation. This is not a simple problem. It's an entire system gradually falling out of balance. The documented consequences are serious. A higher risk of mortality. A greater likelihood of metabolic syndrome. Increased vulnerability to geriatric conditions such as falls and fractures. And a progressive loss of functional independence. At this point, it's worth pausing and asking. Who is at the greatest risk? The answer may surprise you. It's not necessarily the most sedentary person. And it's not necessarily the most obese person. It's the person who has been aging while gradually losing muscle without realizing it, all while maintaining or increasing body fat. This can include people who have spent years cycling through restrictive diets, losing weight without proper supervision and then gaining it back. Each cycle tends to preserve fat while sacrificing lean muscle mass. Over time, body composition worsens, even if body weight appears stable. It also includes people who gradually reduced their physical activity over the years, assuming it was simply a natural part of aging. And it includes individuals with chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, or lower levels of testosterone and estrogen, all of which can accelerate this process. So what does science recommend? Before any strategy can work, it's important to recognize that this is a body composition problem, not simply a weight problem.
Everything looks normal here.
That changes everything.
Just keep up the active work.
The goal is not merely to lose weight. The goal is to preserve, and if possible, increase muscle mass while reducing excess fat.
This is the best
and those two goals require specific approaches.
I absolutely agree.
Resistance training, the well-known and incredibly valuable practice of strength training and weightlifting,
one more rep, let's go,
consistently appears throughout the scientific literature as the most powerful intervention for preserving muscle during aging. There is no true substitute for it in this context. Not walking. Not swimming. Not any other form of aerobic exercise. While those activities offer important health benefits, none provide the same stimulus for maintaining muscle mass. Nothing replaces strength training. What needs to be clear is that we're not talking about lifting heavy weights to become massive. We're talking about training with loads that are appropriate for each person's abilities and goals, focusing on functional living rather than appearance. Improved appearance often becomes a natural consequence, but it is not the primary objective. Adequate protein intake is equally critical. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at using dietary protein for muscle synthesis. That means protein needs increase with age, not decrease. Research also suggests that protein distribution throughout the day matters, with a meaningful amount of protein included in each meal. And there is a third piece that is frequently overlooked. Sleep quality and the management of chronic stress. Both directly affect the hormones that regulate muscle and fat, including cortisol, testosterone, and growth hormone. There is another important detail that science is beginning to explore more deeply. Even among people who are not clinically obese according to BMI, it is possible to carry excess fat while having insufficient muscle mass. This profile, sometimes referred to as normal weight obesity, carries significant metabolic risks that the scale simply cannot reveal. That challenges an entire culture of health assessment based exclusively on weight and BMI. If the risk lies in body composition, then body composition is what we need to measure. Which brings us to one final reflection. Healthy aging is not about looking young. It's about maintaining function. It's about preserving your ability to move, remain independent, and live with quality throughout the decades ahead. Sarcopenic obesity represents one of the most well-documented mechanisms identified by modern science, showing how aging, when combined with physical inactivity, poor nutrition, and chronic inflammation, can quietly and progressively steal that function away. The good news is that it is modifiable. The interventions exist. The window of opportunity is real. And the sooner you understand what's at stake, the more tools you'll have at your disposal. That is exactly why this channel exists. To translate serious science into practical choices, so that you not only live more years, but live better within them. If this content was valuable to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next video.